You're listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with Elyse Conroy. After spending 15 years in the beauty industry developing products for some of the largest beauty brands in the world, Elyse walked away and left it all behind. Why? She failed. Wow. I love you're so honest. Elyse aspired to make women feel good about themselves from the outside in with the products she created, but realized when we try to fix ourselves from the outside in, it simply doesn't work and the results are not sustainable. The confidence the products helped consumers create was only to be washed down the sink every night once the mask was removed. She knew there was a different way to create the feelings we are all looking for. And just like that, she left her career in beauty behind and went all in on her dream of launching her company, Soul Makeup. She now teaches high-performing women like myself every day the importance of healing from the inside out through one-on-one coaching, retreats, workshops, and motivational speaking, and is on a passionate mission to help them break through the fears and the doubts that are holding them back in life. I love your mission and your story. I'm so glad to have you on here. Thank you,
so much
Elyse.
for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
One of the first things we ask you to do when you come on the show is to talk about like a story of hope. And usually those stories of hope are the journeys that have led us into the place that we're serving the best right now.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to go way back and go on a journey on how I ended up in this crazy place in this new world as a coach, because this wasn't always where my life was. So where my journey and really all of this began was when I was 7 and I had a passion to get in my dad's garage. He owned a business. So I was always out there like making makeup. But the reason why I got into this idea of beauty and makeup is because I was bullied real bad as a kid. And it started in kindergarten and went all the way through high school. And I'm talking like dog poop rubbed on my face, just girls walking up and punching me in the face. And where I really found refuge and felt a sense of relief and a sense of freedom to just be who I was when I dug into my mom's makeup drawer. And she used to sell Avon. She had this beautiful fuchsia lipstick, like what kind of the similar shade to what I'm wearing. It had blue pearl. I'll never forget it. So I would go in my dad's garage, I would mix it up and I would find ways to create this because I truly believed through the art of painting on my face that I felt better and I felt accepted and I felt beautiful. And I felt like if I could be that, then these kids would like me and that something would change for me, but it didn't. And it started a lifelong pattern of really hiding. And so at 18, I had to get out of my small town. I knew, okay, I'm never going to be accepted here. So I went on a mission, moved to LA, proving I'm going to be somebody, right? I was on that mission and I got here, went straight to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, got my degree in beauty, and then started a 15-year-long journey of creating cosmetics because I was so committed to this belief that women could feel good enough and women could feel confident and secure with themselves if they had the products to do so. And it was really interesting because after doing this for year after year, I mean, there's a good chance something that I've worked on is in your bathroom right now because I've worked on thousands of products for these big brands. But I had a really interesting journey because I truly thought beauty was going to be the rest of my life. I had no desire to ever leave. It just was who I was. It's what defined me. And so in 2018, I went on a business trip because my goal with this was to be this big bicontinental businesswoman, right? I'm going to be somebody. That was my whole mission. And so my dream job happened. I was working for Estee Lauder and I was on this beautiful, experience in Italy. I worked a lot in Italy developing these formulas and I got a call that changed the course of my life forever. And it was my mom calling to tell me that my dad was on his way to the ER. And when you just get that gut feeling like this is not going to be good. So flew back in my first class seat and I'm like, I have a hunch this part of life is going to be ending. I knew I was coming back to something bad. And so the week that I got back, I found out he was diagnosed with cancer. And in that moment, it was the first time in my life I went from being this high performing career woman to a daughter that needed to be there and take a stand for my parents. And so just like that, I quit. And I had every intention of going back. But when I walked away from it, I started noticing, I was like, hold on, women are still feeling insecure. I still feel insecure without all of these products on my face. Why am I doing this? And so I went on my own little eat, pray, love journey. I went on to like a solo retreat to Sri Lanka. I was all over the place, really trying to find myself. And in that passionate mission of trying to find myself, I realized like I couldn't spend one more day in beauty developing these products, trying to convince women that they're good enough when they wear this. Because what I would see working with all these celebrities, all these mega influencers with millions of followers, we'd be on set, they're trying my latest formula, and they'd wash their face at the end of the set and they would have a meltdown because they didn't want the paparazzi to see them on the outside, right? Without their face on. And I'm like, hold on, something's wrong. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, how many beauty brands would go out of business if women no longer felt insecure about themselves? A lot of them, right? And I just morally couldn't do it. And this soul calling was starting to emerge. And it was like, Elyse, you know, there is this inner knowing inside of you that has the ability for women to see this. It's not about the outside in, like what you're trying to convince them to do. It's about the inside out. And then when I learned the tools, I found the way. I was like, I can't spend one more second convincing people that they need to live this identity, live this belief. And here we are.
Oh my gosh. So can I just tell you, wow. And I can relate to a lot of that. I was never bullied. I'm ashamed to say this, but I'm going to be very honest, like I always am here. I was a total bullier. And I was a cheerleader with all the popular girls, and I picked on anyone that wasn't in that field, right? They weren't in that space.
Yeah.
And I apologize to every single person in the world now because I was stupid and ignorant, and I did not realize the value of friendship until I got older. Having said that, I remember when I first got married. Do you remember the marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Yes, of course.
Remember the scene where she gets up at night and cracks the thick blinds to wake her? That was me. I could not let a man that I was married to see me wake up not being myself. Right. If I had to take out the garbage, I put lipstick on, I did my hair. I was just walking to the garbage can. And I could not live like that. I'll tell you, something changes when you get older and you kind of give the whole world the bird. Yeah. And I just don't care, right? This is it. This is how I show up. And so I am okay with that. I feel like we should be having a hashtag, this is me, and show up every day with, not every day, okay, not every day, but show up on Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays with our no makeup on. This is me, hashtag this is me, and hashtag I am brave, because we are powerful in that beautiful body that God gave us. Yes. And if we're healthy, we've got so much going, right? So I love that you have that message, and that is like your mission. But I want to know how you're doing that.
Oh, it's so exciting, because when I kind of set off on this, I had no intention of being a coach. Like, I had been coached, I'd had high level executive coaching, but my dream was not to be a coach. My dream was to host these worldwide experiences for women, and then COVID hit. And so it was interesting because I'm like, wait, hold on. There's this coaching thing. I'm already doing this. Why am I not just doing this for a living and then bringing this all together through the act of these experiences and these retreats? So my goal was to start with my first retreat in Bali. Leading up to it, they would do a coaching program that would then, culminate in Bali, but then enter COVID. So that dream kind of died and is on hold until we get to do that. But what I do now is I work together with women one-on-one, and we go to the root, because truly, if we don't know where these fears, these doubts, these limiting beliefs, these insecurities, this lack mindset is living, and we're the root of the why of what we're doing or why we're feeling. Like for me, the why was I'm trying to be accepted, so I'm going to paint my face on, right? But I didn't know that until I went on my own personal development journey. So now what I do through my coaching is I coach women on their mindset, their personal development, their professional development, because essentially they're also interconnected. And like, for example, I work with a lot of high-powered corporate executives that are still in the beauty industry. It's like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but I see they're still hiding behind these masks. And I'm like, we've got to get to a place where we feel true security and that true confidence from the inside out. So I actually named my program the CAN program, which is called Take Confident Action Now, because when we are stuck in that belief that we need all these things or other people's opinions about us, all that to really make us feel good enough or to validate us, we know that's not going to work, right? And so now what I do is every day that pattern of teaching and teaching. So I do the coaching, and then I also have workshops and retreats that I do just because they're so near and dear and like passionate to my heart.
Gosh, I love that. I think this is such a powerful story, because I see women all the time who, for some reason, their looks are their superpower. Like that's how they manage everything. That's their value, is how they look. And I've seen this happen on plenty of people I coach. And I want to know how many of you women really relate to this, but they have a bad relationship. They're in a bad marriage or a bad relationship of any kind, even if it's a friendship, and they think if I lost a little more weight, if I spent the money to get my hair done, if I got the lashes, if I had this purse, this outfit, I would show up and things would change. And it never, ever, ever does. Because if you're repelling somebody, it is not the way you look. There's
Right.
something going on inside that you need to work on first. Am I right?
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's like, no wonder why we're here. Think of all the societal conditioning and all of the branding and the marketing that's telling us we need these things. And like, oh, once you get this bag, once you get this house, once you have this partner, once you have this face, right? And it puts us on this lifelong course of trying to fix ourselves, but there's nothing broken. We just have to learn to love ourselves in a different way versus trying to be what society wants us to be, right?
So when they go to your retreats, what are they like? What are they experiencing? Because retreats are coming back. I have 3 on hold that I've tried to refund money because I didn't think I was ever going to be back into them. But they're like, no, we want to go. So I get everybody right now has retreats on hold because we weren't able to travel. But I feel like we're on the right curve right now, and things are going to be opening back up. And so when people are going to experience your retreat, what are they experiencing when they go? And are they just for women?
They are for women at this point. You never know. I mean, there might be men at some point. We'll see where this journey takes me. But truly, it's all about, for me, with my company's name, Soul Makeup, it's about that healing from the inside out. So it's through the practice of mindfulness, incorporating meditation, incorporating breath work, learning how to actually manage your mind and care for yourself in a way that is not necessarily traditional. Because so much of what I see when people come to me, because I'm a big advocate of self-care, especially leaving my corporate career, I went through a horrific burnout in 2018, and I didn't understand that the lack of self-care and the lack of actually making myself a priority in my life was what contributed to it, because I didn't know how to manage my mind yet. It was like an unsupervised toddler running around with scissors in there. It was a very dangerous place to be. But so what I teach women is really how to kind of bring it all home within them, bring it all back, because truly the answers we want, they're all inside of us. We just need to find the right way to bring it out. And through that mindset work and through slowing down and creating space to actually take care of yourself and make yourself a priority and do the daily changes in the habits, these little micro actions, teaching them how to create a different result through these little shifts, right? Because you know how it is. I mean, you do this work too. It's like these little teeny changes in the day-to-day will have such a tremendous impact on the rest of their life, right? So I teach them how to do that, because the beauty is all created from the inside out. The success, the confidence, it all starts from within. So it's really also giving them permission to just come show up without their mask on, authentically who they are, in a non-judgmental, safe space where you can just really come, let the walls down and be you.
So I just want to make sure this message is not about not wearing makeup.
No, not at all.
This message, yes, 100%. Because I will tell you a little opposite story of wearing makeup. So yeah, I do wear makeup, but not much. I use bronzer, lipstick, and that's pretty much it. But here's the thing. When I was really sick and I was given a death notice, basically, I remembered wanting to be healthy and getting up and looking in the mirror every day. And that sick person that was dying was looking back. I did not have the strength to put on makeup. And for what? To go lay back in bed to die? Right. So I remember someone said, you should get your lashes done, because I looked sick and pale. And I thought, what the heck? I'm just laying there. And so I had a girl come over and do them. And I got up in the mirror the next day and I looked healthier.
Yeah.
That sick person was no longer looking back at me. And it was that small little, well, that wasn't the whole reason, but that little small mind shift made me think there's hope. I'm getting better, right? I'm looking better. So I think that wearing makeup is totally okay. And I know that's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
I think that we just can't use it as a mask. It's like just a little extra, right? It's a little oomph when we want.
Exactly. It's like enhancing, right? And for me, like, makeup is my creative expression. I get ready in the morning and it is like a party. Like, I love the art of, and if you see, even if you look on my Instagram, one day it'll be green eyeshadow, the next day it's a hot pink lip, the next day, I mean, it's all over the place, but it's fun for me. But before, I was using it from a place of insecurity versus a place of empowerment, because I was trying to hide. And being in the beauty industry, I mean, I would get told all the time, oh, I wish your skin was smoother because then we could use you as a model. It's such a shame you've got such like speed bumpy skin. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that feels great, And so it was always coming from a negative place of I needed to fix myself. And then also working for these big brands, you sit around the table and we figure out, okay, how can we monetize women's problems, right? And coming from that type of place, that's where it felt unhealthy for me. But where I educate now is like, I'm a huge advocate for makeup. I'll never stop using makeup because I'm a beauty junkie. If you go into my bathroom, it's like a Sephora, but it's fun for me. But when you're using it from that empowered place to enhance enhance your beauty. I think there's no better gift you can give yourself. It's so much fun. But when it's coming from that disempowered, I'm going to hide, like, then we've got to have a little chat.
I love that. I definitely think your message is super powerful. So how can people coach with you?
So like I said, I do the one-to-one coaching in my CAM program, which is truly a 4-month premium coaching experience. So I offer that. And then I do all those virtual retreats. I have one coming up on the 28th of this month, and then one-to-one workshops.
I saw that you had a virtual retreat coming up. So I saw that coming across. How does virtual retreats work?
So what I'm doing is I'm bringing on 3 other incredible women. So one is going to be doing astrology for your wellness for your astrology sign. Another is going to be doing Pilates. The other is going to be doing a Reiki meditation. And then I'm going to be doing a guided visualization and laser journaling and breath work. So what we're going to do is just meet on Zoom. I have my soul makeup Zoom room. And so get together for 2.5 hours. And it's really just 2.5 hours for you to just have that moment, create that space for you to take care of yourself. Because we're all so busy. I mean, high performers, right? It's just the more we can do, the more we can give. So it's really about creating that safe space from the comfort of your own home to just have that time with you to do the work on yourself.
I agree. And if you're to the point where you are getting up out of bed before your husband wakes up to put a face on because the person you chose to spend the rest of your life with, right? For worse and better, and they cannot see you without makeup, you probably should seek some help. That's not good. That's not a good, safe place. That's not a good, healthy relationship. If you're so worried that if they see you without that mask, that they're going to reject you. Like, that's what it's all about. I don't want to be rejected. And if they reject me, it's not me, it's this, right?
Right.
Exactly. So I don't have to deal with it. It's not me.
Yes. It's so funny because that conditioning, it just reminds me so much of, like, because my dad will always be like, you're going to leave the house without your face on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because he was always just so concerned because in his generation, it was like how you looked really mattered. And so I'm sure that was another driver because I would get in the car and he's like, you're going to drive in your pajamas without that face? What are you going to do? What happens if somebody sees you? I'm like, well, then they know how I really look in pajamas, you know? Sorry, Dad.
I love it. Elyse, I think you're hysterical and I love your energy. Like that.
Thank you.
Great energy. And I think that women really need to find a place like this. And also, I think that one of your messages, which is super important, is words matter. The things you say to people, not even realizing, like people telling you, oh, great, you'd be a great model. You're beautiful if your skin wasn't so.
Right.
Like, words matter. And people hear that and they don't, all of a sudden they negate all of the good things that you may have said before that one word.
Yeah.
And all they focus in is that one thing, right? And so words matter. So what comes out of our mouth, let's like really try to be aware of that. And maybe some things we can just keep to ourselves.
Right. I know. I think as you're saying this, I'm thinking back to all the things people said. And I remember, like, I had an ex-boyfriend who would touch the back of my leg and he went, dimple, dimple, dimple. Okay, let's talk about how many insecurities that one comment created for my poor brain, right? But we don't realize, like, the impact that little comments that might seem like it's positive, but it might be a backhanded compliment, or then the dialogue that we have with ourselves and our beautiful brains. Oh man, like I was saying earlier, that unsupervised toddler with the scissors in my brain, I would say things to myself before that I would never say to something else. So it's like the dialogue that we're having with ourselves on top of other people. Those two things combined can be the perfect partner to really set yourself up for a completely different life of freedom, of that, away from the insecurities, away from the doubt, the limiting belief, all of it.
I honestly think the dialogue we have with ourselves is the most important thing. Like, if we're looking at ourselves, I look fat in these jeans. If I could just lose 20 pounds, why can't I do this? It's holding, like, I would have a perfect relationship if.
Yep.
You know what? You are already perfect. You are enough exactly the way you are. You can only get better, right? Because you're already perfect, but you can always do better. And so I love that you have this message for women, because as you get older, again, you just don't care anymore. It's like giving them the bird. I don't care what you think. Like, I don't care. I remember I had to have a double mastectomy, and my doctor, I was young. And so he was like, well, are you okay with this? I'm like, yeah, I've had all my babies. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be on a Sports Illustrated magazine anytime soon. And I don't want to die. So it seems like a no-brainer to me. I'm totally okay with that, right?
Yep.
So I'm secure in that space. And I've always, from the moment I made that choice, I was always very secure in it. And still to this day, women are like, doesn't that bother you? I'm like, no, they were my superpower and I did mourn them. I remember well, first of all, in high school, I got a lot of dates. They nourished my children when they came, never had a ticket, and I have been pulled over. And so, like, they were my superpower. But I realized that my superpower was a lot more than a pair of boobs.
Right? Right. Isn't it so powerful coming to that awareness though, where there's nothing about how you look that can have a power over you. You know, you're just, like you said, you nailed it perfect exactly as you are. Best
I
feeling
still
in the
get
world.
pulled over. I've not had a ticket, and I'm going to be 60 and I no longer have the boobs. So yeah, it has nothing to do with that.
Yes.
A little
That's
kindness goes a long way for sure.
So true. So true. Plus, I think you'd be really slick at talking your way out of a ticket. I just have a hunch.
I never talk my way out of a ticket. I always I am so sorry. Absolutely. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. And they never give me a ticket.
Oh my God, where were the cops that pulled you over? I can't seem to get out of it.
I've gotten pulled over. I got pulled over doing over 100 once and I didn't get a ticket.
Oh my goodness. Lucky you.
I know. That's what I say. Lucky me for sure. Elyse, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We're going to have all your information in the show notes so people can connect with you. And I wish that as soon as we get off this, please link me or tag me in your retreat, because I would love to promote that and get some of the amazing women I know an opportunity to start becoming more self-aware and, feeling strong in who they are. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. You're amazing.
Yay. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.